GMSONIC. Thanks for joining us today. How you doing today, Corval?
Oh, I'm doing great, Dracula. I'm having the time of my life here. I'm really enjoying the movements of the markets, and I'm really enjoying the Fantom experience at the moment because it's all over the place. There's so much going on. Um, Today we're gonna be talking about Fantom validator nodes, a little bit more technical stuff for you guys, but it's still really exciting. I promise. Dracula's gonna blow your mind.
I forgot to give you a little introduction, a little hype up. I like to, when I'm introducing you, you know, kind of introduce some of the lore. So I meant to say that I'm here with Corval,
Mhm.
sometimes also referred to as Blue Thanos,
Thanos.
because he can
Yeah,
snap his fingers and cut the price of your token in half if he feels like it. So
that's right.
just
All it
wanted
takes
to
is
add
one
to the
die.
lore there. People need to know who they're watching when they're watching this show.
That's right. They gotta appreciate the power. I just gotta buy your token once, and half of it is gone.
Oh man. Yeah, so getting into it, the first thing we were going to chat about today, Fantom gave a little bit of an update.
Mhm.
We were talking about this I guess probably a couple episodes ago where they had announced that they had the first, Sonic validator online, and they had given some stats and stuff. So they kind of just came out here and it's just kind of like explaining the process of what it's going to take to get Fantom upgraded to Sonic.
These nodes. I'll be able to run one from my phone, from my iPhone.
Well, that's an example I've seen thrown around, is that the requirements now for a node are going to be way lower, not just in terms of how much you have to have staking power wise to open one,
Mhm.
but the hardware, the technical requirements are going to be very low. So I have seen that thrown around, people being like, I'm going to run one of these on my phone. I don't think they've quite released the specs yet on like what you have to have, but everybody's saying it's going to be really light,
Mhm.
um, which is exciting because, you know, we've touched on this before, but sometimes people will throw that up that, oh, Fantom's barely got any validators. It's, centralized. It's not decentralized enough. So I think they're really addressing this with Sonic, where we're going to see a lot of validators, which is great. They can't just flip the switch, They can't just, say, hey, we're on Sonic now. All we had to do was, flip a little switch here and we're good to go. It is a process. The process is that every validator does have to update the Sonic before we can get to a point where we're like can say we're on Sonic. Which I say all of them. I'll touch on that down here as well. It's not necessarily all of them, but the majority do have to, get updated. They say that while they're doing these updates, it's important to upgrade them one by
Mhm.
one, just to make sure that there's still as much validating power available as possible. Because obviously you're taking a validator down, that means you're removing some of that validator power. Transactions are approved once 2/3 of the network staking power approves the transaction. So because you have to have 2/3 of this confirmation, that means that they can't really say, oh, we're upgraded to Sonic until 2/3 of the network
Mhm.
staking power is on Sonic tech. So what is staking power? So they explain it here that staking power is the amount of influence a validator has on the network's consensus, determined by the amount of FTM a validator has on Opera. So the example is, you have four validators, one with 50K, one with 100, one with 150, one with 200. 3 and 4 hold 70% of the network's total stake. So even though they're only half of the available validators, their combined staking power exceeds the 2/3 needed for consensus.
Uh-huh. The centralization rears its ugly head, Dracula.
So I think that's a very obviously centralized example of Phantom right now currently has way more validators than four, but what they're trying to show here is just that they need to have a certain amount of the staking power running on Sonic before they can say, hey, we've upgraded. So you know they're saying that this process has already begun. They say there's currently about 60 nodes So based on, oh, sorry, apologies on that. I'll backtrack there. Um, it's that they need about 60 of the nodes to get to that percent of staking power so that they can have, the network basically running on Sonic. Um, so yeah, just a little update there. They're saying the process has begun, so we're slowly making the shift here. Um, I don't really know how long this will take, so I guess I'm noticing they're not really throwing out a timeline. So I don't know if that means this could happen fast, if it's going to take a month or two. I would imagine though you're having to kind of coordinate with the node operators. You're having to coordinate this with them, like when somebody's upgrading, when somebody's not upgrading. So I imagine it's going to take a little bit of time, but we are getting closer to, Phantom Opera being on Sonic.
I didn't know it was going to happen like that. I thought we were going to upgrade all at once. I thought it
Yeah,
was going to be a
like I
big
said,
epic event.
it's like one of those things where I think some people saying, when, it's not as easy as just, hey, we just flip the Sonic switch, which would be nice, but unfortunately, it's not how it works.
Unfortunately, no, we can't just flip the Sonic switch. So I'm wondering if this is a process that's going to take all the way until like the end of summer, like they were talking about before, or if that was like, or if the event they're talking about at the end of summer being like the launch of like the roll up L2 component of this.
Yeah, I believe that the plan is for the new chain is end of summer, early fall. Um, there have been some I have seen like Andre in replies saying that Sonic is still coming in the spring. So, I mean, we're at the end of April here. Um, Maybe that means that they're anticipating, okay, it's, they could probably get this done maybe within about a month. Now, I'm not trying to put words in their mouth, but they're still saying spring. I'd say we got about 4 to 6 weeks of spring left. So maybe we're gonna make it in time for that cutoff. That would be nice.
That would be nice. It would be nice for my bags because we're almost in May, and you know what happens in May. Um, Dracula, you know what
They
happens?
say in May, walk away.
Yep, in May, walk away.
So don't
Just
walk
walk
away.
away.
We need you to buy tokens. We need you to buy
No,
Phantom.
I'm gonna hang up my hat. I'm gonna retire in May at this rate. Um, retire to the streets, you know, under the bridge. Uh, but yeah, I think it's exciting. We're seeing some development, some movement on Phantom. But you know, Dracula, not everyone out there is seeing it that way. Not everyone out there is seeing it that way. We got some haters, dude. And you know, I know all about haters. You guys know me. I got a lot of experience with the haters. Um, but Phantom has some pretty big ones, dude. We didn't mention this. This is a surprise article for you guys. Surprise news update. If you didn't see this, this was getting some traction. I saw Sisyphus retweet this, where he was pretty much just saying, "Yeah, all crypto's a scam." But this guy Ignis, he's found this Forbes article, which I wish I could share with you, but it's paywalled, and I'm not paying for Forbes. I used my phone to bypass the paywall, so I did read the article, but I can't really throw it up on my screen because I'm technically retarded. We can cut all that. I'm just explaining this to
Yeah, so
Dracula.
all it really is that we're helping like the 10 to 15,000 viewers that we get on each video. We're just helping them commit fraud, so don't worry about it.
Yeah. So like if you guys want to look, I'll message me, I'll tell you the app I use to bypass the paywall. So anyway, this article was interesting because they're talking about zombie blockchains. They're saying that crypto is overrun with all these zombie blockchains. And this quote, Ignis does a good job of summarizing the article. It's mainly saying these guys are unproven, have little utility other than for speculative crypto trading. And this list encompasses everything from internet computer to Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum Classic, Bitcoin Cash, Monero. Unfortunately, on here is also Phantom. You don't see it here. Oh wait, here it is, right there, Phantom. Now the notes on it they gave are pretty nice. Ethereum competitor runs several decentralized exchanges to trade tokens. Upgrade coming. Uh, But the point they're making here isn't that these are dead. Well, no, the point is that they are dead. This is what the article is claiming, that they're useless, they're dead, no reason to use them other than to speculate. But they're zombies because they have fat treasuries, so they're going to continue to move on. It's going to continue to keep moving. If you're familiar with the idea of zombie businesses in the economy, it seems to be a very similar thing. Um, a company that is not cash flow positive can't hope to turn a profit, but is surviving off of loans or credit or whatever, or just a large cash treasury. Um, so they go through and they're pretty much just dunking on every chain. They didn't do an actual write up in the article on Fantom specifically, uh, but the complaint seems to generally be that there's no real use case. It doesn't offer anything that Ethereum or Bitcoin doesn't, and that there's no future and no hope. They end the article with, let me pull up my phone so I can read it directly. Here it is. Don't expect any of the cash-rich do-nothing blockchains to shut down anytime soon. They're busy spending their money on long-shot projects. Buyer beware, the lunatics are running the crypto asylum. So I wanted to get your take on this. I feel like obviously you're watching a Fantom show, you love Fantom, you're upset by this. And I kind of agree with you. I think it's maybe a little bit unfair, but I do to lump Fantom in with such things as internet computer. Nothing against internet computer.
I got the one that really triggered me was you're putting Fantom on the same list as EOS, which EOS is a great example of what they're talking about. I mean,
Mhm.
EOS had a huge raise. That was like, I think that was even before the last run. I mean, they've been making EOS for, I don't, geez, 7-8 years. I don't know. That's a great example of, they raised a ton of money, and no, I don't know what they're doing. I think they've just kind of coasted. I don't think
Mhm.
I guess sometimes people have to understand also that, I mean, these things are businesses in themselves. So you might have had some insane, 9-figure raise or something. Well, you still got salaries, you still got people you're
Yeah.
paying. You know what I mean? It's still like a business to an extent. So um, I do get, I get the point of the article. I do think what's kind of funny about the article is, in a way, though, they have these VCs commenting on some of these chains, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, to me, the VCs are who should be worried about this article, because this is the new VC playbook. Are,
Mhm.
you know, doing seed rounds for yet another L1, yet another L2, whatever. And they know they're selling vaporware. They just know that, hey, if we can get a good raise for this thing, everybody's going to buy in. Everybody, maybe they'll have a little airdrop, thing or whatever. But they're basically selling vaporware. Like a lot of these chains, they have like kind of like a hype launch, and then
Mhm.
you just don't really ever hear anything about them again. So to me, I think it's kind of, there's some irony there that obviously VCs or some VC somewhere had some kind of input on this article, and it's like, really, man, they're actually kind of putting your playbook on blast here. So I'd be a little concerned about that,
Yeah.
because that's what we saw with the L2 rollups are so easy to make from a technical standpoint compared to, I could make you an L2 rollup. It wouldn't be pretty, but I could make you one in a couple days if I really had to. I mean,
I
it's
mean,
literally like you're forking some stuff, maybe just make a really crappy front end for like a bridge or something. Anyway, point being is that you saw this weird shift with L2s where it was like VCs used to get behind projects, or, a
mhm.
project that had a token on a chain. Well, somebody down the line said, why are we doing that where we can make a few million or some, $1 million, whatever? Why are we doing that when we can just launch a chain, get way more
Yeah.
hype that way than any project that, so it's kind of wild to me that I had a tweet about this like forever ago where I was like, bro, they're launching chains like you can launch shit coins. Like, it's crazy. I don't know. It's obviously it's a little bit of a surface level analysis as well. Um, Fantom obviously is doing a lot of stuff right now. They're getting ready for their upgrade. There's a lot of chatter. There's a lot of builders coming. So like I said, it's a little triggering to. I don't think Phantom should be on that list with like EOS, but there's some other things on there that definitely don't deserve to be on that list. I mean,
Yeah,
um,
for sure.
the standout to me was like Monero. Like I was like, Monero's utility is that like it exists and it's still
Mhm.
like a what, like top 10, top 15 project like at all times.
Mhm.
So seems a little like short-sighted, maybe a little like under researched or something, but
I think, yeah, from my perspective, they were looking at strictly as like a business, like in terms of revenue generation, because they were looking at kind of like fees generated and things like that as like a
yeah.
primary measure of the success of the chain. And some people have brought up, well, like the fees on Phantom are really low by like design, so obviously it's not going to generate like a bunch of revenue
Yeah.
that way. They have some quotes in the article talking about how pointing out that like a lot of these chains, well, specifically this one, the one they asked me about, which was Algorand, that they're in Uber mode. They lose money on every single person who gets a car, and so they're trying to build to that position where they can transition into like a more profit driven endeavor. But yeah, I agree with you. I think it's like a little unfair. I mean, it's a little hastily or a little sloppy of a list. Um, there definitely are things on there that deserve to be on there. And I'm not just saying this as a Phantom homer, but it is a little bit different because the upgrade coming is significant. There is significant work being put in. It's not just shambling along, doing long Hail Mary throw projects here on Phantom.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, and maybe it's the maybe they like, grabbed Phantom solely based on that famous 30-year runway that
Possibly.
set the industry ablaze when it was,
Mhm.
we have 30-year runway. So maybe they're sitting there saying like, oh, these guys just they got their runway and they're just chilling, but it's not the case.
I do wanna put this into the context of the general kind of, media environment we're in now, because we had a little bit of a peacetime in crypto for a bit. The last couple months were kinda like, you get a news story here or there about, you know, blockchains, and it would be whatever, like neutral. But now the negative press has really started to pick up a lot more. I've noticed with this article, the SEC one saying, or the SEC going after MetaMask
Yep.
consensus.
So now MetaMask and Uniswap.
hmm Um, what's the other one? There's like a bunch of like negative press coming out around crypto now, so I'm not surprised. US is just going to ban all DeFi or whatever. So it seems just like another kind of component of that narrative. Not saying it's orchestrated or whatever, but the tone definitely seems to be shifting. And if you've been on the timeline, me personally, I've seen a lot of people just being like, "All of crypto's a scam. It's all a Ponzi." It feels like we're in the capitulation mode again, dude. I don't
I
know
mean,
about you.
it's just like it's like when we had the halving chart. I mean, I think people get a little disillusioned when the halving happens and then we don't instantly shoot up to new all-time highs, but it's just never how it works. So yeah, we've had months. I mean, I guess it's since October we've basically just been marching up.
hmm
We've had pullbacks, but nothing like really that significant. So yeah, what is that? 1, 2, like 5 or 6 months of pretty much just going up.
hmm
So I expect there to be maybe a decent sized pullback or, at least go sideways and be kind of boring for a bit. But I noticed this with the last halving as well, that there did kind of seem to be this period where it happens and everybody's just kind of like, all right, that's it. Like what now? Like what's going on? So yeah, I am seeing a lot of negativity. Kind of getting those last bear market vibes where there's the overall negativity. Then, like on the timeline, there's even like people fighting, people like talking shit to
Yeah.
each other. So hopefully this doesn't last too long. I mean, I feel like it's kind of like everyone's kind of got to get their bearings back. Everyone's got to get their act together here. Like what's
Yeah.
next? What's the next? Like what's the narrative we got now? So we had the halving, we had runes. Um, there is Ethereum ETF now in the works, but it's not here yet. So I think that's kind of where we're at right now. Is it's such a build up to this moment, and then the moment happens, and like I said, everyone like looks around like, all right, well, what what now?
That
So
definitely does seem to be the case. Is like kind of what now? That may be a big symptom of what everyone's experiencing because I think we're seeing some meme coin burnout overall, and we're seeing like DeFi not picking up as much steam as it did previously. So people are kind of wondering like, what's the next rush? What's the next innovation?
yeah,
People in crypto are really, really hungry for that sort of thing. They feel like
we have like
everything
a
can be,
dopamine problem. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because prices move in a way that is not like the stock market. Narratives come and burn out sometimes in weeks. Like, you know what
yes,
I mean? You take like a normal financial cycle and speed it up by like 100. So
mhm.
people get bored really fast. People get bearish really fast. By the way, you will not get my tokens, bears, and you will not shake me out. So stop trying. I'm not gonna give you anything right now. Okay. I don't believe it. I'm not
Time.
bearish. Okay. So that's all I can really say is, in my opinion, I just think that there's just like a what now, what,
Yeah.
and we have, we still have several months before the election. Um, if history repeats itself, we still have, several months until we really start getting the effects of the halving. So I say hang in there. Like I said, imagine that poster on your elementary classroom wall of the cat hanging on the branch. Just hang in there.
Yeah, I agree. You should hang in there. This is not a promise, it's not a financial advice, but I'll tell you a little anecdote. I think the first time I left crypto, because I first got interested in crypto like years ago, I was working in this office job. It sucked. I remember I like have like uh I think I was trading on like Kraken or something, like a some centralized exchanges, like before I like DeFi at all. And I was really excited because I was like learning about like Ripple. I was learning about Bitcoin, and I uh, I was getting really into it. And then I learned about the halving, and I was like, okay, nice. It was like coinciding with like right about a halving, and I left right after the halving. So I was like, this shit's a scam. It all went to zero. Like everything went down. But if I had stayed in another like 6 months, but then again, that's a long time, so I can understand the pain. But if I'd stayed in a just 6 months longer, I would have been up way more. I would have been
Yeah. I mean, we
I
need to
wouldn't be
get
here right now though, so I guess everything happens for a reason.
the animals racing on live stream again. We need a break from the memes. I think that's maybe what's going on here. We need a little break. We need to get these hamsters running again on
Yeah,
live stream betting on it.
we need to
Um,
shift back to good old-fashioned gambling.
yeah, like we got Plus Bet launching here on Fantom. We got a Pump.Fun fork launching. Everyone just needs to enjoy some of that money you made and just chill out for a little bit. Reformulate. You know what I'm saying?
Take a vacation, that's Dracula's advice.
Yeah, cash some out. Get on a cruise ship. Don't look at the charts for a week or two. Not that I could ever do that in my fucking life, but maybe you can do it.
Yeah. Yeah, if you can, take advantage of it because it does get exhausting. But hey, you mentioned fighting on the timeline. I wanna talk about that because I wanna talk about some fun drama. We all love drama, right?
Yes.
Where's the
Uh,
I wanna talk about this because we touched on it, last was it on Tuesday or was it last week? We talked about Speed and Speedy, the
yep.
competing speed tokens on
The
Fantom.
competing fast boys.
Yeah, so I've seen a lot of criticism lately, about Speedy, um, but this quote kinda summarizes it pretty well, like what I've been seeing primarily on Twitter regarding Phantom's meme coins. What you're seeing right now on Phantom, community coins on one side, built by well-known and liked people with small capital, and whale coins on the other, built by faceless whales. I don't want to pick a side. Why can't these two groups come together? Now, this is all kind of spurred, I think. We're seeing some negative sentiment towards the Phantom Goat, because I guess it's centered really around this the most visible, like I guess, representation of it. The Speedy token and Speed. Is Speedy even like associated directly with the the goat? Like, is he like publicly?
I
Yeah,
believe
right.
it's just part of the part of this like incubator program they've been working on.
Okay,
I
yeah,
I, I do know it's connected in that regard.
yeah. So like, so Speedy incubated by the goat. Um, and so those tokens have a very similar name. And there were some people saying, I think, like accusing the goat of sniping the speedy launch or the speed launch and pushing price down. We've got this guy here saying that that the speedy launch was not fair at all because there were 40 different wallets airdropped before the contract was even posted on Twitter. So really, really, what's the word, like conflict, really contentious. It's been a really contentious week on Fantom. A lot of accusations being thrown around, a
Yeah.
lot of tension. um, but this seems to kind of have resolved it kind of nicely for me here. This is Sarge, the dev for Speed, the token that is similar to Speedy. Remember, Speed has the red guy, Speedy has the blue guy. Um, Sarge says, I had a very lengthy conversation with the Phantom Goat and am convinced that he did not personally play an active role in the malicious bot attack on the Speed launch. Still lots of questions that will probably go unanswered, but let's lay it to rest. Iron sharpens iron. Hashtag Phantom Family. Now, that's a beautiful sentiment. I'm glad that they could put their differences behind them and bring some peace to the network because infighting is not helpful, guys.
It's never good.
You
And
guys should be fighting outside the network. You should be fighting with meme coins on Solana and Base or whatever. Get that capital over here to daddy, please.
well, and I think Sam's comment there, which shout out to Sam. He's got that DGen Phantom Telegram group. That's a good time if you're ever looking to keep up on what's happening. But yeah, I mean, it's like yin and yang, right? You kind of got to have both. And as a network, if you're going to play with the big boys, you got to. I've said this before about the incubator, where it's like I feel like I can kind of see I can see like the vision of, I think, and like I said, I could be totally off on this. Maybe they'll say, shut up, you don't know what you're talking about. But in my mind, like I said, I can see that you do kind of get more of these vibes of like more like VC backed, whatever. And that doesn't even mean there are VCs. When we say this, it's kind of more of like the vibe of the token, if that makes sense. They have a certain feel to them when they're usually more of like these kind of tokens. So, they're kind of going for more like, hey, I think we have 3 or 4 meme projects that are, low millions for market cap, right when the market's kind of really heating back up, Sonic's about to drop, whatever. And that's attractive where it's like, hey, there is some money behind them, but there's still plenty of room to run, I mean, because like you look at Solana, like these tokens, I know somebody that he won't actually even touch anything until it's about that range, like 3-5 million, tells him, okay, it's got legs, but it also still has a ton of room to go because, the targets on these are, 500,000, billion is the grail for your meme coin
Mm-hmm.
market cap. You know what I'm saying? Um, so yeah, I mean, I can kind of see the vision on that. I think it's well thought out to that extent. But you can also see the other side where there are community people that have been, here the entire bear. They have projects that are smaller projects. I think maybe they're starting to feel a little pushed to the wayside. And they're saying, hey, we're the community. We've been here, put some respect on our name. But at the end of the day, I think you need both. Kind of like what was said on the speed tweet there. Iron sharpens iron, raising tide brings all the ships, raises all ships. I think that's what this guy's saying here. Yes.
Yeah.
Um, you know, you got to have both, and they're going to have to both exist. Now, with some of the stuff around these launches, I mean, I've seen some stuff firsthand. Now, is it that these new projects have maybe brought in some bad actors? possibly, but
Mm,
that's just part of it. People are going to have to adapt their launch strategies. At this point, it doesn't really matter who did what. You're just going to have to adapt if you're going to launch something. I mean, you have to deal with this on other chains. If you're
good point.
launching a token on Solana, or Base or whatever, it's a lot harder. You know what I mean?
So we need our
So
own pump.fun, right?
yeah, unless you go to pump.fun and
I shouldn't shield them for free like that. That's fucked up.
yeah,
Cut that out. I
pump.fun,
mean, I don't want to shield them
hit
for
us up,
free.
man. We're gonna drop it like once an episode. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
No, yeah, I think you're right. That's an interesting observation is that, and this is something that you're gonna have to think about. If you're a Phantom OG in the trenches, I bought it negative a penny, like I've been here forever and I'm never gonna leave. That's great, but you're gonna have to understand, you're bringing in new people. You need to bring in new people, so you have to be kind of like, you gotta be aware, like especially like with meme coins, you're gonna be bringing in a more predatory type of individual anyway, right? Like,
yeah, I mean the landscape has shifted a bit. So
mhm,
I do think like end game we're gonna see a lot of DeFi, a lot of new DeFi on Sonic. But yeah, I mean it's a different landscape out there. Like you said, there's probably more people looking to be predatory than they are to make something that's like, oh, this is like a nice project for the
mhm.
community and I'll be ethical and I'll raise money and use it the proper way and I just want everyone to win. You're going to have one of those for every 20 guys that are like, I'm going to pump this and rug, and that's an easy few
Yeah.
$1,000s for one day, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like thinking about the psychology of the different kinds of people that use crypto because that's an interesting one. Because when you think about like, and maybe this doesn't go in the show, I don't know, but you think about like the kind of people that use these different networks, right? And you think about like the messaging that appeals to them, and I think of like Phantom, and I think like that's kind of like saturated already. Like, there's already been some goodwill burned between for like idealistic people, right? Like an idealistic person being someone who's like, I love the network, I love these values, I truly believe in them, right? Some of those got burned, and so the ones that remained, right, they're like still super idealistic, they still really believe, but you're not going to make a lot more of people like that, right? Like, you're not going to make them idealistic, like the new people you're going to bring in, they're not going to be that way.
Yeah.
The new people you're going to bring in, they're going to bring them in for a different reason, either like, and primarily it's going to be because they feel like they can make money, right? So, and that's if it's a developer who feels like Phantom's a place I can establish a business, or it's someone who's like, I can trade here. It's not going to be someone who's just like, this is going to go to $1 million.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't
yeah,
know.
and I mean I think the idea has always been like, you make some projects that actually make people want to rotate to your chain and play
Mhm,
around. And then maybe they're there and they go, oh, I like using the network. I like these projects. I like
mhm.
this DeFi thing to stake or whatever. Then maybe you start meeting some of the community. Then you become more like a community member. So there's a lot of angles to it, you know,
Yeah.
because yeah, it's like, what do you do to initially get those new people in?
Yeah. Well, and the new people that you're bringing in with specifically the meme type, like, because with a DeFi project, you could bring in new people that are like truly just interested in the tech, and that's why they think it's going to make money. But with the memes, you're bringing in people who are specifically just like,
Yeah, it's predatory by nature. So,
yeah,
we're talking more of like the Mos Eisley, if I even
yeah,
said that right. The Cantina in Star Wars, you know what I mean? It's
yeah,
the seedier, shadier guys. There's not a lot of just nice guys in this game
hmm,
right now. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. You're going to get people that are most of the people that are going to be participating in your meme coin are going to be participating just because they want to make money. So you're going to get a lot of grimier people that are willing to snipe, bot, and I'll do all that kind of stuff. Sybil attack, all that kind of shit. 'Cause it's how they make their money. It's their primary way. They do this everywhere there's a meme coin launch.
Yeah,
So
they're all over the place. So
yeah. So the best you can do is just make a meme coin where the price doesn't even matter, dude. Who cares about the price? It's about the meme. It's about the culture, bro.
yeah, that's right.
That's what I'm
Cultural
gonna do.
token, be a community member, hold that bag to zero.
That's right.
Be a
And it was,
real community member.
I saw this thing where it was like Gen Z doesn't like to buy things; they like to buy experiences. And one of the best experiences you can buy is being a member of a meme coin community that is going to zero.
Ride that roller coaster.
That's right. Ride the dragon, baby.
Big news. Despite all the bearish sentiment, we still got some good stuff happening. Stripe, which is, a huge payment system, they are saying they are going to start supporting certain cryptos. So there are some certain cryptos and some stable coins. And to me, what's kind of cool here is, maybe not cool from a tax standpoint if you're running a business or whatever, but they're saying that, for instance, you accept crypto for your business, for a job, for a product, whatever, it actually will automatically convert it to fiat to go into your Stripe account. So it's not like a Cash App or whatever where you have the app, but then you still have like a crypto wallet. This is interesting because I think that's like a great way to onboard. You know what I mean? I think that you can tell people, all right, you can have this crypto option for your payments, but you don't have to figure out the wallet. You don't got to figure out, it's going to still just pop into your account, as money. And they did a demo with Solana. But what I wanted to show here as well was they have a list of what they're going to accept initially. And this is impressive, actually, because usually I feel like somebody would come out and just say, hey, guess what? Now you can pay with Bitcoin, or now you can pay with, USDC on Ethereum. But this list is actually pretty decent. And they're saying this is just for starters. They're going to expand on this. But, Ethereum, Solana, Matic, Bitcoin, Stellar, and then you have your stable options there. So that's nice too, because, obviously Ethereum, you have gas, but people could pay with Solana, Polygon, or Stellar using USDC. Those would all be really cheap options to send some stables. But, like I said, the cool thing is that it's just going to deliver fiat right to your wallet. If you do accept these as payments, it'd be nice if you could say, hey, I just want it sent to a wallet. But I think from like an adoption standpoint, this is significant to me. This is even bigger than like, PayPal kind of launched a stable and it was kind of like ended up being a nothing burger. To me, this should actually end up being a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it definitely makes payment from crypto easier. It's kind of like it just seems like an off ramp, right? Like it's just like fiat to crypto. Oh wait, so you can go reverse too. Like you can go like I can send cash, and the person receives it at a wallet address in ETH, Solmatic, Bitcoin, or Stellar.
I don't know about that part.
Okay.
I don't think that's the case. I think the way the system works is, if you had a payment thing set up on your website or whatever, they could
Oh
choose the
yeah.
option to pay with one of these.
Oh yeah, that's huge. Yeah,
Yeah.
because like Newegg, I've used Newegg before, and you can pay with ETH on Newegg.
Yeah. So,
With the
you
other
could use
side.
any of these, but then to further, simplify it, if you were like a person with the Stripe account, you don't have to do anything else
That's
because
awesome.
it's automatically going to convert. Like, if you're in the US, it's going to put USD in your Stripe account.
Dude, this changes everything, man, for me, because now I can just buy all my stuff with USDC straight from the blockchain.
Yeah. Yeah, you could use
That's hot.
USDC straight out of your wallet to
This
pay
is
for
gonna
something.
this could
Um,
revitalize DeFi.
yeah. And
Just think
like I
about it.
said, I think that's the cool part about it is that's smart about it is that there's, there doesn't really have to be like some like huge education campaign or something. Like I said, it's not like Venmo or Cash App where you have the functionality of using the app, but then you still have to manage a wallet. They're literally taking that whole process out of the middle where you could be green to the whole thing and still get paid in crypto. And
Yeah.
hey, that's,
Personally, I'm always a big fan of things that allow retail to use crypto without having to know that that's happening at all for them.
Yeah, and I mean, if when we think about adoption, I mean, that's ultimately how things are going to have to be for true adoption. It's going to have to be that somebody can go and use crypto without having to like open MetaMask and do, a few transactions and then move funds around or whatever. It's going to have to be like you go to a website, you have a login, you pay for your product just like you normally would. And even though it's all crypto, it's all on the back end. It's not in your face. You're not having to do anything. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
to me, that's a good step. You know what I mean? That's what you want to see.
Yeah. I say it's an epic win. It's an epic win victory royale. That's what I'd
Yeah.
say. No, I
Stripe
really
of
am
all
stoked. Is this
places. I
live?
What's that?
Is this already live?
I'm not sure if it's live. Okay, it says it's coming this summer.
Perfect.
So not
Just
here
in time
quite
for
yet,
summer.
but they ran this on the original thing I did here. Um I won't play it, but they ran a demo and they showed, for the demo they used Solana. They are going to come out the gate accepting all these other currencies. So,
Hell yeah. And only a matter of time before Phantom's on this list, of course. I'm doing all of the lobbying I can, calling the CEO of Stripe every day.
yeah, and maybe your associates could also put some,
Yeah,
heat
I'm
to
gonna
them.
dispatch my agents to the Stripe
Yeah,
HQ.
call up Philly and get those guys to roll out the Stripe headquarters. See what we can do here.
Get my Philly boys on. I'm gonna call Helder Vasquez, get him to roll out there. The Stripe innovation is huge, man. I'm stoked. Maybe I'll be able to use it to Grubhub. I'll be able to Grubhub my own
That's
burgers
right. You
in
can
the
get
house now.
Chinese food sent to your house, paying an EOS.
Yeah, the classic buy pizza with Bitcoin.
Buy pizza with Ethereum Classic.
Time is a flat circle. We're coming back around to trying to generate bull hype by buying pizza with Bitcoin again.
You can use Bitcoin Cash Satoshi Vision to buy sushi.
Satoshi Vision STV,
Imagine.
epic chain name. But yeah, man.
I think that pretty much
I'll
wraps
take
it up. And that's a
that.
pretty lengthy episode. So I think we're going to leave it at that. But always, thank you, as always, not just always. Thank you for checking out the show today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Remember, on X, you can find us twice a week or sometimes once a week with a really fat episode at Fantom Talk on X, on the YouTube at GM_Sonic. Also, YouTube seems to, Emmett said YouTube is growing a little bit. So maybe we'll find
Oh yeah.
something nice to do to try to get some action over there too. But the YouTube channel is getting more views, getting some more subscribers. So if you want to check it out on YouTube, definitely like and subscribe. Then, of course, if you want to listen on your podcast platform, I always just say Spotify because that's all I know. So
Yeah.
Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts, GMSONIC, we'll pop right up there.
Yeah. Be sure to like, subscribe. Thanks for checking us out, folks. And we'll see you next week on GM Sonic.